said the Canadian division was too much? I do. That was definitely just because it was a miserable time in our lives and the building was empty. I was just gonna say the second part, but yeah, no, this rules. Let's go! Give me what I want! Kick down the door! Drew, you are not doing this! What? Not nice! There's a giant head! You hear yourself! I made like 2,000 of these. I'd like to have fun. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory, Puppy Ziggy! You get an extra big one. Because, alright, it's my birthday. I was going to do this big speech about how what I wanted for my birthday was for you to be happy. Nothing like a little bit of payback. Leafs win! 7-4! What a game over the Edmonton Oilers! You know, I was feeling sorry about myself before the game, because just before the game, I found out that the clocks actually go forward, meaning we lose an hour, which means March 12th is only 23 hours, which means my birthday is an hour shorter than it should be, which sucks, but it doesn't suck as much as my 2020 birthday, which was the day that the NHL shut down because of COVID. So I thought to myself, can I at least get a Leafs win? So in that regard, think you know which way it's gonna go? Well, it's March Mania at Sports Interaction. NHL, NBA, March Madness, MLB, and so much more. Crazy odds and the best live in play. Download the app in Ontario or use the QR code that you can see on the screen somewhere. That's up to producer Drew. Or head over to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. But only if you're 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Well, that was ridiculous. So listen, as a gift to myself, but mostly to producer Drew, I don't want to go through all 11 goals, like break all of them down hardcore, because this was a game of stories. Heading into the game, the story was, well, the Oilers destroyed the Leafs last time, and the Leafs head into this game with a funhouse mirror of a lineup. This was the actual lineup the Leafs posted before the game. This is, in their words, the second line had 2 players on it. Like, how many weeks in a row have I been like, you know, I'd like to at least see Bunting with Tavares, and then they do it, and forget about the other guy! 11 forward, 7D, you can see the logic behind it, especially with Ryan O'Reilly out of the lineup, but always makes you nervous. And that, by the way, is how you know Sheldon Keefe is going to have his blender out all night, because the third and the fourth lines were intact. That's not usually how 11-7 works. And hilariously, the fourth line opens the scoring. Great shift down low. The Leafs gave the Oilers fits down low in the Oilers' own end all night. David Kampf comes up with it. Great scoring chance for Aston Reese. He's stopped, but Achari scores on the rebound. 1-0. And then the Oilers turned into the Oilers. The Oilers' offense is like quicksand. The more you struggle against it, the more you sink in. Or so I've read. I don't know. Cartoons made it seem like it was going to be more of an issue in adulthood. I don't even know where to find quicksand. I don't think it's in Ontario. Is it? Are there any scientists who watch these videos who can answer that? Come on, nerd. Answer the question, nerd. Anyway, problem on the first goal. The Leafs aren't covering the point well enough. And you see Yarncroke go, that's your guy. Ekholm is left wide open. He blasts it. And I don't like when a goalie gets beat point blank, but that's a heck of a shot. Just a cracker of a slap shot. Perfectly placed top corner. Yeah, those are tough to stop. 1-1. The 2-1 goal just can't go in. First of all, McDavid, who got his 71st assist of the season on this one, gets the puck to Evander Kane. And Justin Hall is just burned wide. Burned. But he does a good enough job that the Oilers have to go around the net. Matt! Why? Dude, I've been getting on Sammy for needing the Peter Mrazek bungee cords. What is that? Brutal positioning, takes forever to get across, and Evander Kane scores because of course he does. You can't allow wraparounds in 2023. Those barely even go in shell. So the Oilers lead 2-1 after 1. It's pretty ho-hum. And at intermission, Oilers fans, I need to know, do you ever feel like Arnold from the Magic School Bus? Like with the best offense in the world, but a terrible defense and goaltending that is, which we have no idea night in and night out. Please let this be a normal hockey game. With the Oil? No way. What's hilarious is it actually gets better for Edmonton because McDavid and Matthews get into a little bit of a spat. Matthews hits McDavid and McDavid does not have the puck. You can't do that. McDavid retaliates by slashing the stick out of Matthews' hands. You can't do that. They both go off. And if you watch my stream on the Sportsnet YouTube channel back, I said, all right, it's 4-on-4. Regardless of what happens in this 4-on-4, when McDavid and Matthews get out of the box, keep your eyes on the neutral zone and don't let McDavid get the puck. What happens? 4-on-4 ends. McDavid gets the puck. He shoots and scores 5-hole. on Matt Murray, and now it's 3-1. His 71st assist followed by his 55th goal. He is a mutant. Arrest him. And that is where things stood more than halfway through the game, and I could have never predicted what would happen over the next 6 minutes. Leafs have the big boys on the ice, but unfortunately, the big boys don't have the puck. McLeod has the puck. McLeod plays for the Oilers. In this situation, Ryan McLeod, who plays for the Oilers, gives it to Mitch Marner, who's not on the Oilers. Dude, that is one of the most mystifying pass attempts I have ever seen. He tries to sauce it over Marner's stick. There is an element of skill to this. And Sheldon Keefe said that after the game. Marner does have to bat that down. It's not just a brain fart from McLeod. There is some skill to it. But he doesn't even do it properly. And also, consider, go behind the net! Just throw it behind the net! Well, I didn't do anything but what you did. Then Mitch Marner, who just stole it, looks like he's going for the spin-a-rooney, stops up, takes souls, and fires it in past Skinner. Every time I watch this goal, I notice something else that's weird about it. Here's the screenshot that I just showed you. Here it is. This is McLeod about to make a really bad pass to Darnell Nurse that never gets to Darnell Nurse. Here's when the puck actually goes in. How is Nurse farther away than when this sequence began? It's not even a matter of his momentum carrying him. It's you see him sort of stop and then make the decision to keep going. What's anybody doing in this sequence? So Marner takes it, scores. The Leafs are still losing. They're down 3-2, but they have life. And I just want to thank It's Mitchy Marnie on Twitter for reminding me of the Leafs' 8-6 win over the Carolina Hurricanes, December 23rd, 2019. The reason that is significant is, remember Austin Matthews' spin pass to Mitch Marner, and Marner scores on the one-timer? That goal made it 6-5 for the Hurricanes. The Leafs were still losing when that goal went in. That happened in this building too. But I was watching that game with a friend, and I turned to him and I said, they have to win the game now. You know they're winning this game, right? Because you can't lose when you score a goal that sick. To which Mitch said, oh yeah, true. Less than 2 minutes later, he gets out there and does it again, steals it and gives it to William Nylander, who he's on the ice at the same time as at 5-on-5. What wonderful world is this? Snipe 5-hole on Skinner. Just like that, the Leafs have tied it. That's great. That's wonderful. Can't wait to see what the third period holds. Oh, what do you mean? We're nowhere near going to the third period? Nurse along the boards. Whoops! Gives it up. Austin Matthews with his 34th assist of the season. On this one. Gets it to John Tavares. That puck is on his stick for a fraction of a second. Rips it roof on Stuart Skinner. The Leafs have the lead all of a sudden. And before the period is done, Nurse, again, just a nightmare of a period, takes a trip on Marner. Leafs go to the power play. Marner tries to get a pass across, but it hits Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' skate. Tavares swats at it, and it's in! In 5 minutes and 59 seconds, the Leafs hang 4 on the Oilers. They go down from 3-1 down to 5-3 up. Then as the second period ends, Hall falls down, accidentally trips McDavid, and he takes that penalty with less than 2 seconds to go in the frame. So even though the Leafs have a 2-goal lead heading into the third, it's the Oilers, and it's the best power play in the world, and I don't hesitate. The Oilers have the best power play in the world. It's number 1 in the NHL. I don't think there's a team in the AHL or KHL who's better. They have the best power play in the world. But luckily, the Leafs kill it off, followed by a big old bunch of rough stuff. And by the way, I know a lot of Oilers fans are not loving how chippy and somewhat dirty that this game got. Officiating is to blame. I'm having a lot of Oilers fans in my mentions and stuff mad about the officiating in this game. You're right. I don't know if we agree on the reasons that you're right, but you are right. John Tavares takes a series of infractions from Vinny Desharnais in front of the net. They're infractions that you see every game, but they're infractions. Cross-check and take your pick. But Tavares, and I thought this was a bit extreme, comes right down on Desharnais' wrist. Two-hand. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a fine for that or something from the league. He might have been fortunate to get away with a 2-minute minor, to be honest. And Desharnais had his hand and wrist wrapped. I don't know. I suspect John Tavares didn't know that was an injured wrist, but he nailed Desharnais on that part of his body. And then he had to sit next to a 6'6", 215-pound, really pissed off guy for the next couple of minutes. But about 2 minutes later, the next power play went to, you guessed it, the Leafs, because Nurse took a high stick on Bunting. The Leafs don't capitalize on that either, so the Oilers with a chance to get back in, the Leafs with a chance to pull ahead, neither of them able to do it. Then what followed that, the only way I can describe it, you ever played the old NES, not Super Nintendo, I'm talking original Nintendo game called Ice Hockey from 1985, and this might shock you, but it's about ice hockey. I'm pretty sure it's the first ever ice hockey game. It must have been before Blades of Steel. I'm not 100% certain on that. But the way you fight in that game is like, they like go like that against each other. They like go like that. But you can like skate away from the scrum, so the scrum like makes its way up the ice. That is exactly what happened with Bunting and Kane. They each gave each other 4 stone cold stunners and 3 angle slams before the whistle goes, and they both get like 4 for roughing. With Tavares and Desharnais and Bunting and Kane, I thought this was a great example of the officiating's lack of officiating causing the game to get out of hand. Case in point, this game had 4 instances of coincidental minors. Really? But then, once again, it's Fogle taking a slash on Achari, and the Leafs get the next power play. They don't miss on this one. The Oilers give the Leafs a beam of daylight, and they set up a set play. Matthews up high to Tavares down low to Austin in the best place in the world. Snipes it. 6-3 Leafs. That's a wrap. Oilers get a power play. Oh, fiddlesticks. Then Draisaitl scores the Draisaitl goal, which he had been trying to do all night, and they're back within 2, and now I'm scared. Then, after the Oilers power play gave them life in this game, Marner takes a straight phantom call. It's a hair over 4 minutes left in the game, and the Leafs' best penalty killing forward is in the box for a trip he did not commit. Like Oilers fans, I'm not trying to say the refs were biased or anything. At the end of the day, the Leafs had 5 power plays to the Oilers 3 in this game. This was not a penalty, but the Leafs find a way, kicking and screaming to kill this off. They do an amazing job of cutting the Oilers off in the neutral zone, holding their own blue line, forcing plays to the wall, and winning battles. Achari was stellar. Kampf was stellar. Hall played his role pretty well here as well. And beautifully enough, it would be Noel Achari with the empty netter to end the game. That's a wrap. 7-4 Leafs final. For the second consecutive Saturday, the Oilers give up 7 goals. They had a different goalie in net for each game. Skinner gave up 6 and an empty netter, and I think Campbell also gave up 6 and was an empty netter. That was nuts. Questions. This wasn't a question, it was an answer to a question, and Vander Kane, after the game, says about Michael Bunting, he likes to dive and embellish. We want to get that out of the game. Lol. I don't know if he's accusing him of diving during their sequence where, again, they gave each other 4 Stone Cold Stunners and 3 angle slams each. I just think someone might be a little upset. And it's all right that he's a little upset because hopefully the Leafs and Oilers can settle this in the Stanley Cup final. Stop laughing! All of it, stop laughing! Producer Drew, shut up! Stop it. That being said, it's unreal that Bunting actually drew a high stick after this incident, but when Bunting got the embellishment call, when Ryan McLeod hit him, I was like, he's in the bad place. He's never coming back. The refs are never giving him anything ever again. One good thing about keeping Bunting off the top line is he probably has more energy for stuff like this, which is hilarious. Also, he can almost play with more of an edge because he doesn't need to worry about putting his team in a compromising situation as a first liner. I don't think it's that 3rd and 4th liners are naturally jerks. I just think on the 3rd and 4th line there was more freedom to be a jerk. Certainly an effective game from Bunting. He was all up in the Oilers' business. So here's a good one from Elena. Was this game a vote in favor of playing 7D and making silly goofy lines in the blender more often? For a moment I thought, no, it's 11-7, it's temporary, they're not going to do this come playoff time. But looking at how Sheldon Keefe deployed the defense in this one made me think otherwise. TJ Brody was the only Leaf defenseman to play over 20 minutes in this game. Shows you how much Sheldon trusts him. Number 2 was Jake McCabe with 18 and a half, basically. He was unreal, by the way. And then it's Riley. Giordano doesn't even get to 16 minutes. Gustafsson and Hall. Gustafsson played 2.5 minutes on the power play. Hall played 1.5 minutes on the penalty kill. And this has a lot to do with the dynamic of having Gustafsson and Hall on the same team. Two defensemen who are clearly exemplary at certain things and really not great at others. Gustafsson is a fantastic power play guy. And when the Leafs needed 2 goals, I started noticing Gustafsson out there with Giordano more, 55-56. It's a nightmare to call on screen. And Justin Hall, we all have our opinions about his 5-on-5 defense and what he does, what he doesn't do. But Sheldon Keefe loves this guy on the penalty kill. It was a choice between Hall and Liljegren last year in the playoffs, because Sheldon loves Hall so much on the penalty kill and doesn't love Liljegren on the penalty kill as much. He played barely over 0.5 minute on the penalty kill in this game. Is this the sort of thing that is just going to get the Leafs through the end of the season, maybe keep some guys fresh? Or is this something they genuinely think is the way to go? On that note, from Mark Masters, Baby Shen arrived yesterday, per coach Sheldon Keefe. Luke should be on his way to Toronto in the near future. Congratulations! Baby Shen! Oh! So the Leafs play a whack of games in March, and I would expect Luke Shen to maybe miss the next couple. They play the Sabres on Monday. They got the Avalanche on Wednesday. These games still have their importance in terms of preparing for the playoffs, and I mean, Shen probably wants to get to know his new teammates and get to know the system and everything, but I hope he takes his time because these things are special. And I wanted to acknowledge this before we were done. From Leafs PR, Mitch Marner's third period assist was his 538th career point, moving him past Rick Vive for sole possession of 10th place on the Leafs all-time points list. This dude is in the top 10 Leaf scorers of all time. He is 25. Pretty fun time to be a Leaf fan. So, that is it for this one. What am I doing? What? So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Happy birthday to me.